Oh, yes. Yes, when you hear those sweet beats, you know you're tuned in to Grande Loq, the Grandiloquent Hip Hop Show. I am one of your co-hosts, Ian Taronji. I am joined, as always, by my two esteemed co-hosts, Tia Abner, aka Prowess the Testament.
Yes,
Tia, how are you this evening?
I'm doing great. I'm matching our co-hosts tonight. So I'm like, well, you know what was, it's a special day. It's green.
I'm Puerto Rican and Cuban. I could give a shit.
This is
But
the day I just brought. See, it's a special day because it's Sean Price's birthday. It's Sean Patty's Day. That's the only Patty I recognize.
Yeah.
there it
So
is. There
your
Rest
it
in peace,
gold
is.
Sean
chain ain't
Price.
safe. R.I.P.
I'm
Yes.
rocking John Coltrane this evening. So
Yes.
our other co-host, the grandiloquent one himself, Artemis Thompson, aka Ardamus, the
What
MC.
up, what up?
Yeah, what's up? What's up?
Chill, man. You should
So
get pinched for not wearing green today. You know that,
I
right?
think we should. We
Yeah,
should
you
do
should get
that.
pinched. Pinch yourself. Come on.
did I mention that my mom's Cuban and my dad's Puerto Rican? Like
Yeah. But we got on green. We know we know when you went to school. They pinched the shit out of you if you wore some. You didn't wear green, you were in trouble. It was. Mm, you
You
still
no,
just
some.
wear
sir.
green just because. See,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm,
You don't want people
green's
looking up at
not
you like, damn,
green's
he
not
got
really my color. It doesn't really bring out my eyes, I don't
Listen,
feel. So it's okay. It's all right. But you
oh,
guys look spectacular as always.
You repping
It's
for see the MF Doom. I see at the top. Artemis, what else is that? Your okay, Zevlov X King Adore. Yeah, see, yeah.
there it is.
R.I.P. We on the R.I.P.
respect.
Indeed. All right, guys. I've got text to go through here. We are Grande Loq. We are Grande Loq. We are three lovers of hip hop, creators of hip hop, music fans, educated cats, and we're bringing, I think, just straight heat all the time on hip hop culture and hip hop music, especially. So this is what we do. We, of course, would be honored if you'd rate, subscribe, review our show. You can interact with us. Well, you can interact with Tia and Artemis on Facebook and social media. I prefer that you not seek me out. We're doing a special show tonight. We're breaking from our normal format, which would be like a current events, a record review, current record review, and a classic record review. We've got next week, I believe is it March 28th, 29th, when they're actually going to give out the Wammies, the 28th. The Wammies, for people who may not know, is sort of DC's Grammys. And there are hip hop and rap categories. And so we wanted to highlight some of the albums that are nominated and some of the artists that are nominated. And so we're going to key in on each of us, kind of pick two albums that we want to talk about. And I certainly hope that anybody that we don't pick out to speak on feels slighted, because honestly, we're all members of the DMV music scene and lovers of DMV artists, and there's so much great music that came out this past year. And I would certainly commend to any listener / viewer, audience member, go out and check out all of these albums. They're so good. There's so much creative energy in the DMV right now. I love it. You guys are a huge part of that. So if we were gonna give proper light to each of the albums that was nominated, this would be a 4-hour show, and it would get real loose by the end, I'm sure. So anyway, Tia, why don't you tell us really quickly about the two albums that you selected? Artemis, you tell us about the albums you selected. I'll mention the albums I selected, and then I'll kind of like go through the list of who was nominated.
Sure. So I selected Night Train 357, The Nightlife, as well as Enoch, Seventh Prophets, A Minute of Your Time.
Both great albums. Artemis, who'd you select?
I chose Uptown XO's Culture Over Corporate and Matt McGee's Everything Starts From Now.
Yeah. I chose the Cornell West Theory, By the Time I Get to Minnesota. And I also chose an album, Enshrouded Angels, by some guy, Ardamus. Who is that guy? This gets me to the nominees. There's actually, we can kind of maybe discuss a little bit why we delineate hip hop and rap. I know that that's always a question for a lot of people, but we have 3 categories at each: hip hop album, hip hop artist of the year, hip hop song of the year, and then rap album, rap artist, and rap song of the year. There was obviously a lot of overlap in the artists, so I want to just really quickly highlight. Amaru had 5 nominations for hip hop album, hip hop song, rap album, rap artist, and rap song. Our man Artemis, Enshrouded Angels, nets him 5 nominations: hip hop album, hip hop artist, rap album, rap artist, rap song. DuPont Brass with 5 nominations. Howard Grads, DMV, hip hop album, artist, song, and then rap artist and song. And then after that, Night Train 357, 4 nominations. Steranko, 3 nominations, and then 2 nominations each for Do Me Right, Lord Gary, Dior Ashley Brown, bless up to her, I love her. Cornell West Theory, 242, Uptown XO, and Enoch Seventh also with 3 nominations, and then everybody else with 1 nomination each. And it's a big long list, so I'm not gonna go through them all. So yeah, I mean, this is an amazing collection of artists and music in the DMV. And Artemis, you have your 5 nominations for your album. You are also a producer on Night Train 357, 4 nominations. Why don't you just because I frankly, I need to know, just tell us everything that you're nominated on, whatever projects you worked on, even if you just featured on somebody, what are you Wammie nominated for other than your own album?
Oh, I mean, there's the stuff that didn't make it, you know what I'm saying? Of course, we got to shout out Prowess, having me on her classic Tell It Two Masters. Bang Bang everybody was cranking that,
Yep.
Also on, we got Today's Agenda, me, Arnell, shouts to my brother, and Tim Hicks from the Dirty Church, you know what I'm saying? Let the Dirt Say Amen, that's what it's called now. He produced that project for us. Man, I'm trying to think. Confluent Collective. It was a song I did with my homeboy Ben Tufts at 38 North, which is a studio out in VA. We did this whole collection, this whole one song, which is a bunch of us musicians around the way, came together for that. That was nominated. Color School Band. I featured on 2 tracks with on that. Shouts to them.
Nominated for best pop album.
Nominated for best pop album.
Color School.
Color School. But I did do production for Night Train on his album that got nominated.
Yes.
Man, I'm trying to make sure I don't forget anything. My Enshrouded Devils project was nominated as well. The 20 to 1 single, which will come up, that was nominated. And Seductive Talk. Seductive Talk is actually in the runnings as best rap song of the year. If I got that right.
Right.
Yeah. Should be best rap song of the year. I think I got everything. I'm not sure. It's all a blur. It's all a blur. I did a lot last year. I can't remember everything.
My man, that is prolific. prolific
I think you
output,
forgot
and
yourself as art. Weren't you nominated for best hip hop artist or rap artist?
Yes.
Yes.
best hip hop artist and rap artist.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So we'll see. You know.
A lot.
Yeah. I'm humble. Let me say this. I never thought being an artist in this capacity would lead me to something like this at all, because you just don't think about it. But when the opportunity presented itself, and then people want to vote for me, when I said, "Hey, yeah, vote for me" or whatever, you know, I didn't know it would be like this kind of thing. I'm humble. I'm very thankful. I'm humble. In the runs with some great artists, people who I haven't even heard of, haven't even met. They have good music too. So this is healthy, man. I really like it, man. I really dig it. So, so I don't know, but yeah, I'm trying to remember everything I did. I think that's everything. I'm not sure.
That is, like I say, that's prolific output. I think that's just like amazing stuff. You're all these nominations, not a bad cut among them. I don't know. Tia, I'm sure you have thoughts.
Yes, I think it's interesting because I've been following Artemis your journey as a musician since 2002, I think. And I mean, this is nearly a 20-year journey. I mean, but you had started much before that. And, and I think it's interesting too, because of the concept of like, a lot of the times transplants, people, when we call transplants, people that are typically not born and raised in the area that, sort of come to the area, whether it be for university, so attending Howard or Georgetown or wherever. And they're sort of sometimes I don't know, disconnect sometimes from the community. And I feel like Artemis is, well, I mean, has been adopted, but is sort of such a rook and a knight and a pillar in this community of the DC hip hop community, and built a lot of the stones, was an architect of the community. So has trained so many people and tutored and mentored and supported and influenced so many people that are here in sharpened swords with people that are here in the community. And I tend to think, like, I always call Artemis the indie darling, because I feel like, right, when indie artists from around the world want to come to DC, oftentimes their gateway or their entry point is Artemis, which a lot of people don't know about the number of collaborations and connections and sort of this, he's a connective tissue for so many different things. You don't even know, so many deals, so many labels, so much of a footprint that you've left. So I'm just excited about you getting flowers. Well, it was time. I think it's been overdue. And I'm glad to see, like, it could have been triple what you, based on your output, like the most prolific artist in DC, I think, from what I've seen, just discography wise, and certainly the range. So I'm excited. I'm so happy. I'm like, yes, please give my brother some props because it's needed.
Yeah.
I'm humble. It's always hard for me to accept like the good from some of this, because so much craziness has happened in the creation and everything, and I appreciate that. And it's an honor. Even if it's not a thing of like, oh yeah, I take home like all these trophies and I pose with them. It's still like it's still cool to be like, hey, that was me. People recognize, the work. They recognize the growth, they recognize the talent, and I appreciate y'all for coming on this journey with me in some ways. I appreciate it. And those deals and those connections and everything. Someday, who knows? We might talk about some of those.
You'll start calling audibles. Yeah, I need that. I need that.
Yeah, we might talk.
It's like a Horcrux. I get it. It's like a Horcrux. So like Voldemort, you just kind of will come back to collect all of. I gotcha.
Right. Who knows? I might speak on those at one point. But yeah, but yeah, I appreciate it so much. I remember you know what I was thinking? The year when I was in the hospital and everything was going crazy and I didn't have that much output, I told myself I'm going to work 10 times as hard as I can, and just with the ideas I had. The pandemic hit, and it was like bad but good, because I could like still like I was able to make a lot of stuff in the pandemic in a short time. But before that, I was working on stuff too, kind of heavy, but not as heavy when everything shut down. So it just kind of worked out that way, to be real with you. So
Yeah.
I'm honored. I'm very humble.
Well, you should be obviously enormously proud of your output, and I'm glad that it's being recognized. For me, it's been an honor to be just a small part of your musical journey, and so this was one of the albums that I selected to highlight. So why don't we talk about Enshrouded Angels? I think it's an amazing album. The one thing that I can always say about your verses, Artemis, especially knowing you, is that they are honest, like super, super honest. And to me, that's the highest compliment that you can pay to an artist, because I believe art is a search for truth and an artist's truth expressed. And so that honesty is your truth. And I always appreciate that about you as an MC and as an artist. So why don't you tell us, I mean, we've got you here and it's your album. Why don't you tell us about, everything about this album in like 60 seconds?
I'll try. So basically, when I was making this is a precursor to an opus of an album I've been working on for a long time. This is an album called For Angels Kissing Devils. I've been trying to nail. I could just never get the production for it right. I went through about, at this point, maybe I keep saying 100 beats, but I think it might be 150 at this point that I was making for it. Just never worked out. So what I did was I was like, maybe I should make a precursor project for this. And I was like, all right, so maybe I should just like start out with like maybe like 4 tracks or something and see what works. It'd be EP. And then I kept like doing all this kind of production, and I was like, man, maybe I could make this like a 2-parter thing. Call it Devils and Angels or Angels and Devils. Like it just like go from there. And the pandemic hit, and I was like, I do want to reflect the time of this. Everybody's masking themselves, covering themselves up. What can I do to make it like kind of like hit home? Because like the the thing with the cover with the mask is like a metaphor, because we all mask ourselves in morality. And I was just like, you know what? Maybe I could take this picture. I took a selfie of me with a mask on. I was out and about. I was like, yeah, put that on the cover. I got somebody from Fiverr to hook it up. Bam, that was it. Um, Now making the project, I was like, I had all these beats and I just didn't know which one would fit with what, and I just like slowly worked on each track, man. I will tell you this: this hot take. There were people that were supposed to be on this project and they didn't show up for it. My man Born Eye, he was supposed to be on Lotto. You know, Flex was supposed to be on 20 to 1. We'll get into that. And yeah, exactly. He was supposed to be on 20 to 1. And now on the Shroud Devils, the single Seductive Talk, I actually reached out to Wayna. She was supposed to be on that one, and that didn't work out. So,
Gosh.
yeah, I know, right? Because I was like, part of it too, I was like, I wanted to get people from the area that I necessarily hadn't worked with, where I kind of built it with them at some point. I wanted to get them on this project, and it just didn't work out. So, it is what it is. But I'm glad it turned out the way it did. And yeah, both Enshrouded Angels and Enshrouded Devils, it's just like a play on the whole thing with morality, you know. Um, and that was the whole thing. There are a lot of abstract concepts to them. It's like deeply like kind of spiritual to me in the sense, and then like a little bit psychological. Um, but yeah, I had fun making all of them, making every song. I had fun making all of them. So that's all I can really say. It was just fun for me, you know.
Yeah, really tight 7-track album. We're going to talk about a song called 20 to 1 featuring verses from Our Nullification and someone named Prowess the Testament. I'm reading here. I'm sure that dude's really good. Some other great tracks on this album. I love LOTTO, such a great song. Cancel Me If You Wanna. What's I kind of wanted to know what's the backstory on that one.
Cancel Me If You Want. So I was playing with the concept of cancel culture, basically. Like, in a sense, I was like, I'm playing up the idea of what cancel culture is. Like somebody you would want to cancel, but you looked at this person like this person can't be canceled. How could they? They're so perfect. You see that jawline? They walk straight. They're so nice, but they do a lot of things that are just crazy as hell to a degree. They just piss off people, but they make so much money. They have so much fame. And I was just thinking about it, like, cancel culture is needed. At the same time, it can bottom out. It's like good and bad too at the same time. It's a very strange concept. But I was looking at so many people getting canceled, and I was just like, dang, that's crazy. It's a cycle of just like, and sometimes it's just a cycle of being offensive towards somebody or harming somebody, taking something from somebody, all these different things, and I just put it into that concept of just somebody who was very on top of the world, but they're getting dragged to the bottom because of what they do. So, yeah, that's why I wrote.
Well, so the song that I selected to focus on, 20 to 1, I really, really, really love your verses on this. Let's hear a little bit of this with Artemis's verse, and then we'll hear some of Tia's verses afterwards, which are just fire. It's
Yes. 20 to 1. 20 to 1. Beating the odds. What you gotta do? Know what they told me? The world's so cold. Do what you told to get isolated. Food for thought, damn shit. We gotta microwave it. Separated all your words like the hyphenated. Yeah, that's plenty of fun. The 20 to 1 have been the odds, and I think we have the right to weigh it. Are you idiots done? Is it really a pun? You don't get it. I'm not spelling I with team design. My scheme aligned with the fine regime. It seems they pull stunts and then trip though. That's not why we keep making this fifth blow. More than rock stars when they want a stiff blow. A Christian boy that have a grip of crypto. Pave the way for those who don't follow much. Keep a life wish bottled up. All of it is under the hat. Laying flat on the map. On the universe, dog. Then we call it exactly back. It goes all right, all right, all right, all right. Please make my day. It goes all right, all right, all right. All right. 2021. I like the odds. More like 19 of them are like decks of cards. Sort of like Tunkarine, double like most. Double my winners while talking shit and boasting. Yeah. That
the great RNLification right there.
My brother,
right there at the tail end.
Was a fire verse.
Yes, indeed. What did you do? Did you do the production on this on that song?
Yes, I did. I produced all of Enshrouded Angels. And
Oh man, it's so tight. I mean, you guys know me. I'm a sucker for music and musicality and harmony and melody. And I love what you did. The instrumentation there is just like right on point. I love that production. Did you want to say something about Arnell's verse?
Well, so I'll talk about like most of the song in general. So when I was on the road with Of Tomorrow, and we like went a bunch of places, I think I made this beat kind of like nostalgically, like remembering the bassist, Nick Soderstrom. He's like an amazing bassist. For some reason, when I made this beat, I was thinking about how he would play, and I had this like 80s kind of sound, and I kind of flipped it and made it a bass, and I took that same sound and I did something else with it, and it's in the song elsewhere, and I was just playing with the drums on it, and for some reason, it kind of made me think about just going against the odds of things, and I wanted like my people who I consider my fam, especially like musically, to be a part of this track. So having Arnell and Tia on this was perfect. Having Flex a part of this would have been great too, because me and him have like similar kind of backgrounds as far as like being from somewhere else and then being here and then having the city embraces, you know, I kind of felt that would have been dope. But yeah, Tween the One is all about just you being you being able to go against the odds at all
Yeah.
costs, you know,
Yeah.
and just facing that adversity nicely. And shout out to my brother Arnell, who came through the clutch with his verse. He's from DC and he's one of the most underrated like artists around. And I can't wait till people can hear what he has to give towards the scene and just like elsewhere, man. He's working. He's
Soon
working.
No
to come.
doubt.
More to come.
Yes, a lot more to come.
He's got such a great voice, such a great flow. He's a fabulous MC, fun guy, beautiful soul. I want to see more. I want to see more from
You-
RNL.
You will trust me.
Good.
Very
He's
true.
not playing.
I look forward to it. And then also Flex. The fuck,
Where is
man?
Flex?
Where is
Nobody
Flex?
really knows. Where is
Flex, come on, man.
This would have been too, I think, such a complete team because of all of our sort of interactions and connect. So
Exactly.
yeah. Again, connective tissue that like
Yeah,
you have put together. So yeah.
no doubt.
So
Before we bug out of this album and our mutual admiration society for Artemis, I want to hear a little bit of Tia of your verse, and then when we're done on the other side, tell us a little bit about what was.
Mhm.
Give us the backstory.
all right.
What's the odds of defeat when we compete? I stampede the concrete. Features are matched by the teachings of my arm reached. By song 3, I stormed the legion. Allegiance formed in the region. But still, people don't want the freedom. I give the knowledge from Eden. They eating fruit of the demon. They seeking wisdom to speak in terms with Phoenicians. Spark the beacon. I did it without a reason. Refuting disbelievers. I'm painting some masterpieces. I'm writing a thesis. Prestigious. Double the nut in time. Covered a couple rhymes. Even above the lines. I keep us on the mind. Seasons change like autumn time. Things are rearranged like shifting the paradigms. Get your signal straight. They running left from the home plate. Man, the primate. In a tri-state, I'm about to annihilate these candidates. Even heavy-handed, they lightweight and slight work. I kill a zero in a cipher with the right verb. The mic served on a hot plate. Don't hesitate to incinerate. 21 hideaways. It's a finer taste. Ransom letters written in cursive. Handling universes with a couple verses. But the hearses didn't even rehearse this. I just tossed the first pitch you trying to hit. I percent missed the disc, but they don't witness the spit trick. It goes all right.
I love the air drums, Artemis.
Oh, because I know the verse a lot, like well, and I'm just like, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that part, yeah.
Great verse, Tia. Tell us a little bit about that before we move on to our next album.
I focused a lot, I think probably on my journey here in DC, like as an artist, kind of like coming in the idea of like features are matched by the teachings of my arm reach, like by the people that are directly right next to me, are the only people, which I meant Artemis, Arnell, like the people that I, fam, right, that we, Nigma, people that we, our features are unmatched, right? Nobody can touch those. So unless you are connected to me in that way. And then by song 3, like just saying after like the 3rd song that I wrote, I knew at that time I had already formed a legion of people, right? Of people who were, I guess, who enjoyed my art in the city. But then I realized, right, like people, that topic about like gifted knowledge from Eden, eating fruit from the demon, and it's sort of like something to lead the horse to water, you can't make them drink kind of a narrative. Like you can try to pull people along and say, listen to this, but sometimes people just don't get you. And then I realized like a lot of people just didn't get me. So I feel like in many ways, right, like people just wouldn't ask me to do anything. They just, or wouldn't interact with me, or just didn't really know how to interact with me. And I wasn't probably the easiest person to interact with either. So I kind of talked a little bit about, sort of refuting disbelievers, people that doubted me. And like, I still was painting those masterpieces though, and writing the thesis and, recognizing that I had to double or nothing. I had to go for it and increase what, my skill set was, and I had to put all my effort into it. So it really was more so about that. And just kind of like at the end, it kind of got braggadocio about like, at this point, if you don't know, you should ask somebody, but you can use this verse for reference.
If you don't know, now you know.
Yeah.
No, that's great. It's such a great verse. It really felt like moving through your musical journey, your journey of life. You've been a musician. You've been a musician your whole life. So it's really, when you talk about a musical journey, you're talking about the journey of your life. So
yes,
just such a great verse. Great track. Enshrouded Angels is the album. It is nominated for Best Hip Hop Album, Best Rap Album. Artemis, you are nominated for Best Hip Hop Artist, Best Rap Artist. You're also nominated for Best Rap Song. And which? Remind me again, which is the song that you're nominated for?
Oh, you're muted, Arda.
I'm gonna find it before he tells me. It's Seductive Talk. Did we lose Arda?
We can't hear you.
Hear me?
Yes.
Now we got you.
Yeah.
Seductive Talk.
Yeah, Seductive Talk. I'm not sure what happened, but yeah, Seductive Talk is off Enshrouded Devils. Actually,
Yes.
that was the other project that got nominated. So yeah, that's kind of weird how that happened. Like 2021 was in the runnings, but now it's not. But Seductive Talk is, which is also the theme song for the show. Oh.
See how we
Bringing it full circle. By the way, I also want to just bring up very briefly Astro Blocks, another 2020 release.
Yep.
Yourself, High
Nice.
Keech, not nominated.
Amazing.
Great album. Album. Artemis, yeah, you have my respect as an artist. Good on you, brother. Good on you. Best of luck.
You need the bigger version of this.
That's what we need.
You need several of them.
Yeah.
I just, even no matter what happens, you are a winner in everybody that I know's book. But it'd be nice to have that recognition from the industry source as well. So.
Truth. Wammie voters, if you're watching, for your consideration. All right. Tia, tell us about Night Train 357.
So let me tell you about the purple. See, I call this the purple vinyl. It can't be the purple tape because it already was a purple tape, but it's like the plum tape, the plum vinyl. Listen, Night Train 357 is an artist that we talk about connective tissue that I met through Ardamus, and learned a lot about Night Train 357 since that time. I mean, I would call Train a friend at this point, and realize just is an MC that really has control over their subject matter. I don't think that there's anybody that kind of combines, I feel like, sort of socially conscious topics with like nerd kind of pop culture references, and then also has really significant, like I said, messaging and narratives around their own personal experience. And then the wordplay is just phenomenal at the same time. Also, because Train is a full-time graphic designer and visual artist, there's and a martial artist, so is also a black belt. So there's a lot of, I feel like, connections in the work that kind of show that, right? It's really high energy, and sort of this unmatched kind of vibe around enjoyment. And but you also kind of get this, what I learned is that his father was a bass guitarist and CB radio enthusiast. And so Night Train 357 was his handle, which is where Night Train got the name. But just
Nice.
that you can tell there's this legacy of hard work and values and just like, incredible artists. But I definitely wanted to highlight this. This album has just got great creativity. There's so many great songs that I did love. So it was really hard for me to narrow down on one. One of my favorite songs is No Sleep Over You, which is sort of, what it is, right? I'm not going to lose sleep over whether or not someone likes me or doesn't like me, or what people are feeling, what people are canceling. Like, I'm not gonna lose sleep, right, over you. And then Drive Me Crazy, which is featuring New Choice. The Make the Money, that's got Ethan Spalding and Night Train's cousin, and also constant collaborator Roan. And so just really the album has a lot of range. And the song that I picked is one of the singles from the album, Cosmic Cruise, which features another Wammie award-winning best soul artist, Cecily. And it was also ranked as Reverb Nation's #1 hip hop song for Washington, D.C. And it has over 30,000 streams on like Spotify. So yeah, it's this album is just incredible. But this song that I picked, I felt like stood out. And it was produced by our very own Artemis. Well, I mean,
right. Bless up.
Wammie side?
In case you didn't know. All right. So what are we're gonna hear Cosmic Cruise by Cecily,
Cosmic
featuring
Cruise
Cecily.
Yes.
Yes, let's do it.
Hey. What y'all gonna do? So my stars. Matter what you do. Yes, sir. Full of options, switching all the time, but the quickest way from A to B is still a straight line. I ain't lying, that is science. I'm trying to explain, cause if you apply determination, you can do anything. You can mind you. Give me the audio code so I can find something to ride to. We're about to fly to another planet. Is magical, what feel like it's in a galactic. The way you make me feel, let's dip, cause we can fly in my starship like Han Solo by the castle mines, like Cowboy Bebop with jet and spies, like Captain Kirk on the Enterprise. We can travel far like a Dharma did in a Battlestar. I'm flinging haters like a catapult. You feel the heat, take it off. Like what y'all gonna do? We'll cruise up my stars. No matter what you do.
So smooth.
Love that beat.
Yes, I love that beat. It is smooth. And like there is the video for this song is also, it's got this intergalactic kind of a theme to it. Artemis, you have a cameo on the video. Why don't you talk about the video? Because you probably can do it better justice. But
Night Train. Oh, I'm not gonna say I was mad at Night Train or anything. He had me read the most crazy script doing that video. But it was funny. Like when I saw what he was doing with it, and I gotta shout him out, man, because he worked so hard to make sure he made it a certain way, and he's always been able to just be able to stand out. But trying to read some of them lines, I was like, how? I was like, I can't remember what happened. He gave me the lines like a little while ago. We didn't have time to get up, and then I went over to where he was at, and then I remember what the lines were. I was like, damn, this is a lot. So I tried to read. So I had to chop up like me and my dialogue. It was fun though, you know. It was good to see him and the missus, man, and he did a bang up job with the video. Now the song, let me say this about the song. I gave him that beat when we just met up one time. And he didn't really have an idea for it yet, but he pitched it to me a couple of times. I actually made that beat in reference to just like giving like the Bay Area kind of like a shout out, because like that was like a Bay Area experience, like inspired beat. I told him when I heard it, I was like, man, I wish he had scratches on it, because there are a couple of songs like that from the Bay where it has the 808 and then scratches with it, but it was still dope. It still came out fire. And Cecily, man, she made that track something else, man. Like her and Night Train working together on that track was so dope. So
she has pipes. She has pipes on pipes, man. Like she's what a voice.
yeah.
What a voice. I feel like her and Carly Harvey and maybe like Margot McDonald, my favorite local female singers. Yeah, she's definitely one of them.
he's on my Enshrouded Devils
Oh,
project
definitely.
too.
Yeah,
So,
that's
yeah,
right.
so,
That's right.
yeah.
Cop that one, folks. Cop that one too.
Yes.
Did
And
you
if
do?
you
Did
look,
you
I
do?
mean, no, go ahead, Nian.
Did you Artemis? Did you do production on this entire on all the songs on the album, or only?
Not on this one. So I've done production for Night Train for quite some time, but
Mhm.
this time he went with ADST. Shouts to ADST. He's been working with
Yes.
ADST for some time. I did two tracks on here. I did Chicago What Up and Cosmic Cruise this time.
Nice.
And, he's just expanding his he's expanding his palette, man. And I'm proud of
Mhm.
him that he's doing his thing. Me and him
Yeah.
go back and forth on different theories about doing stuff. We roast each other. We clown each other. It's fine. But the fact of the matter is, like at the same time, we want the best for each other in our
Mhm.
endeavors because we kind of met at a time when we were dealing with like group situations that just weren't working out,
Mhm.
and we both like made each other better. He made me a better producer. I guess I made him a better lyricist. I'm not sure, but us working together kind of it worked out. And he's doing dope stuff with ADST and Big Rome. So
Yeah.
good stuff.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
such a dope album. The Nightlife by Night Train 357. Tia, you got any wrap up before we move on to the next one?
Just the fact that Artemis took that, that was a beautiful connection. ADST put his foot in a lot of these beats. I mean, I like the two of they have great connection together, and
Mhm.
just that chemistry, which I hate using that word, but it is totally chemistry there. But also that this was mixed and mastered by Ron Vento of Night Sky Studios in Waldorf, which is a studio where I recorded my album. Artemis recorded his projects for the most part. Arnellification records most of his stuff, and ADST also uses that studio space. So last year, Ron Vento was nominated for an award for Best Studio, but I think they took that category away this year. So just props to Ron Vento as well as ADST for, it's just, this has been a community effort. And like Night Train, I like the fact that he brought all of those elements
No doubt.
together.
Yeah, you always have like when it's like a music incubator. I mean, there's certain spots in the city. Seven Drum City is like a
Yes.
music incubator. A lot of the studios, maybe we don't have as many studios in the DMV like they do up in New York, but I feel like communities build up around like the Nova Studios. You've got Ardamus was mentioning Ben Tufts earlier, who's a fixture in like Nova music. Props to Ben, great guy, amazing musician. So yeah, I think an incubator. That's a great term for it, and props to Ron and Night Sky.
Yep.
All right, let's Artemis hit us up with EXO
Yo.
right between the eyes with us.
Right between your eyes. I got you. No. So, Uptown XO's culture over corporate. Let me say this about XO. I remember very, very distinctly seeing a bunch of these guys rolling up into Cap City Records when we were having open mic at a True Scoop and mic. It was a bunch of them. It was like they were like 10 or 12 deep, and there was this bald-headed kid, short. He had on. It had to have been a Madness vest. I can't remember. It had to have been a Madness vest, or it said Hoodlum on. Anyways, he was there in front,
Yeah.
like he was commanding everybody, like he was like
Yes.
the leader. That was XO. And it's crazy about XO. He's always been able to lock down the streets and the hip hop crowd at the same time, and he never compromised what he was doing, and he always gave you that like hard hitting feel of just what DC is talking about, especially Northwest. He's gonna tell you like everybody. A lot of people know who he is. He's gotten to the point where the people in the commercial market, they know who he is. And it's been good to see him just come up, man. It's been good to see him just like continually work, and just put out like great projects over the years. Part of Diamond District. If you haven't checked out Diamond District, please do so on Mellow Music Group. Check out XO's older stuff. He has like albums like 2010 that came out 11 years ago at this point. Still fire. Takeover album, dope as well. Now, cultural over corporate, I feel like I don't know how many years it's been since I've heard EXO put out a project, but it hasn't been too long. Now this came out um, the top of last year, and it was produced by Drew Dave. Heavy hitting album, short 9 tracks, and man, when I get that feel of DC classic albums like Priest of Nomads, Mr. Move Something, Kev Brown's, I Do What I Do, this falls in that category to me. And I feel like it was hard to pick a song off of this just to be like, yo, this is it right here because Song for CC was fire, Dead Presidents Part 444, fire, City Feel, fire, Northwest Coastin' fire. And now this song we should get into, Hit Me With the Hard. What? Come on, man. Hit Me With the Hard was just crazy when I heard it. And we interviewed him at along with Capital, what was it? Capital Ill Radio, Ill Street Grooves. He came in and spoke on this whole album, and I liked his insight to it. But yo, Hit Me With the Hard, such a dope track. You know what? Let's go ahead and get into it. Hit Me With the Hard. Let's go.
This ain't for the club, you can't twerk to this. This is real street shit, we put in work for this. Motherfucker, Big and Pop got murk for this. Hip hop, nigga, that mean the streets first to get it. How many niggas went to jail for it? Fuck the streets, you don't care what going to hell for it. Oh, you failed for it. Ain't even see the signs, this man caught a shell for it. That's an L form. I ain't letting you see me the summer rail form. And you'll care more. Like, can we have more? Don't let the net in the TV control your mind, dog. Who you gon' decide for? Make up your mind, y'all. I'm giving the people the product to go. Product of mine, you're bugging me. No, I'm a product of God. I'm giving the people a part of my soul. Whoa, without you, without me, what would it be? You want a war against the song? Come on. Woo. Yo, here we go. At the count of 3, I want everybody in the place to be to make some noise if you're down with me. 1, 2, 3.
Yo.
It's an anthem. That's an anthem right there.
Saying.
Yeah.
And let me say this. I'll go on the record. If this wins, I'm not mad.
Mm-hmm.
Because that album is so fire. I'm not mad.
Yeah.
Even Night Train's album too. I'm just saying there are a lot of good albums up for nomination. But this, I heard this, I was like, oh, yep. It's that shit, you know. It just, and like I said, it just took me back to those times where you have those classics in the DMV area that even more people outside of this area know about, and this is one of them. You know.
Yeah.
Now I know Tia. What do you think about this album? I know you got some.
Yeah, because I love this album. Same with you, Artemis. It's like this album, EXO is such a gifted, like, I mean, I knew from the first time I saw him too, right? Like when I saw him first walk in and stand right in the front of the, I think I was performing when he came in and he stood right in front of my mic, right? But I felt such like, you know, I felt such love, but this album that touches on a lot of issues from family and culture to race and gentrification and being a person who is actually, you know, a legacy, you know, a generational Washingtonian. So somebody who's a multi-generational Washingtonian and being coming up in that, we have a different kind of experience, right? As like we're going through the experience locally of what this city looks like and how it's transformed and how we don't recognize it anymore and how it becomes, you know, you're a tourist in your own city that your grandparents, your great-grandparents built, you know, like the places you were born turn into condos, the places your parents worked, you know, no longer exist, those industries or those markets. And, you know, those places you go to shop, people look at you like you're, you know, you're stealing from them when it's like, really, you know, like, do you know what this street used to be? You know, so this album, I feel like captures all of that. So it gives that lens of like immersed in, I guess, like the triple entendre of like culture over corporate, right? DC has become sort of a corporate city now. It's always been very conservative, but now it's sort of like, but this is still immersed in the DC culture. Like EXO is still immersed in that. He's never sacrificed, you know, sort of his DC lingo, his DC swag, whatever we want to call that, to, you know, to make hip hop music, which has sort of always been, I think it's always been a little bit of a tenuous relationship with hip hop and DC natives. Because, you know, go-go being our predominantly like indigenous music culture here. So I just love the fact that EXO like combines those worlds. And this is definitely is heartfelt, but this song is hard. It's just hard, right? It's like it goes hard from the time it comes in. It almost gives me that like tribute to kind of DJ Cool feel on it. You know, so it's just very distinctly DC. Yeah, I love the album. It's great. It's got YU on here, another local artist. But yeah, please, Wammie committee, no matter who wins this category, like Artemis said, the whole city wins.
Exactly. Shouts to YU too, man. Yo,
Yeah,
Ian, what
yeah.
you think, man?
I don't know what much more I can add. I thought the production was like big and bold, and I love that. Musically, his lyricism is right on point. I mean, Tia pointed out the subject matter. You know, I spoke a little bit earlier about how and you know, an artist expressing his or her truth in an honest way, to me is the highest compliment I can pay to art, and that just seeps out of the speaker when you listen to this album. It's so good. It's so good. So yeah, I loved it. All right, do we have any final wrap up thoughts?
Man, look, get that
On
vinyl because I think he's got it on pre-sale right now
Yeah,
on his site. And shouts to Benji who's still rocking with him. My man Benji,
yeah.
my man Tragic. Shout I ain't seen Tragic in forever. There's a lot of people that are connected to EXO that always been down and had his back too. His team has like been through it with him through thick and thin. They've been holding ground. So shouts to EXO and his
And
people.
Elu, I think it's
Elu.
Elu, is how you pronounce
Yeah.
it. Everybody ain't like us, which I love
Right.
the whole brand of that.
Right. Yeah, actually, you know what? Matter of fact, Benji is one of the first people I met when I came to DC. Benji 202. He does like a lot of his video stuff. So
Mhm.
I gotta give him an extra shout out, man. I did some production for him back in the day. Solid brother, and I'm glad that they're still just rocking with each other. So
Yeah.
shouts to that.
Very good, very good. All right, guys. Well, we're gonna take a real quick break. We're gonna come back, and we're gonna get into three more albums. As I noted before, we unfortunately can't hit all of the Wammie nominated albums, but I certainly encourage you. You can go to, give me 1 second here. You go to wammiesdc.awardsplatform.com, and
Yes,
you can
indeed.
pull up every category of Wammie nominated music, not just rap and hip hop. Tons and tons of categories: pop, rock, jazz, hard rock, gospel inspirational, choral, bluegrass, and then other awards like the Advocacy Award, Best Acapella Artist Group. Ton of stuff. Ton of brilliant artists have always said that DC and the DMV is just an amazing fertile ground for art and artists. And you know, I'm proud to be just a tiny small sliver of a part of the this scene. And so we're trying to give love and shine to all of the nominated albums. We unfortunately can only, like in our time here, just talk about the 6 that we're going to. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll come back and talk about more albums.
Yep.
The ratchet's in your hand, just wave it around sight. It's still buried again. They say it's all business to you, what you playing around like you do with various friends. Again, the burden of a hustler who keeps on faking the smile cry.
There you go. Some more Artemis for you right there. Just having the Artemis Love Fest tonight. So before we get back into albums, I just want to kind of just name check all of the artists who are nominated for even any of the hip hop or rap categories. So as we mentioned, Amaru nominated 5 times, Artemis 5 times. Chiquete, nominated once, hip hop album. DuPont Brass, nominated 5 times. Enoch Seventh Prophet, we're going to talk about his album here in a minute, nominated 3 times. Matt McGee, nominated once. We're about to talk about his album as well. Night Train 357, Uptown XO, we just did those. 242, Aiken G. Khaled, Cornell West Theory, we're going to talk about that one here as well. Dior Ashley Brown, Starenko, Devin Messina, Controlled Chaos, Joe Smo, Lord Gary, Do Me Right, Kang. There's just so much talent here in the DMV, and you know, we're happy to give as much shine as we can. You know, I wish we could get to all of these albums because there's so much great material. We obviously had to cut it down and, you know, keep it tight because it's already going to be a long show, just judging by that first segment. The first album I think we're going to talk about here in this second segment is the Cornell West Theories. By the time I get to Minnesota, it came out in October, but clearly the seeds germinated for this album out of the George Floyd protests over summer of 2020. And it's very angry. It's very hard. It's also like very loving and optimistic in a weird kind of way, kind of a we gonna be all right kind of way, but also like very honest about racism and shit that went down over the summer. So the song that I selected to hear is Lift Every Voice and Scream. Let's hear a couple of seconds of that.
This is for Zion, roar like the iron lion, right on the head of pythons. If you indecisive, ask soul to turn the lights on. Some icons shouldn't have their mics on. Been killing for 20 years, now they write songs for justice. We need to mash those scribe path, advance home, grass mode, future, afro, bash this last home. Shot pop the blast, nose fire, ash smoke, lyrics. The spirit of walking won't sleep. It's beyond voting, invoking, revolting, God, queens and kings, ascend past whole string. We attack with rapture, build, Black Lives Matter, capture, resounding prowess. You dig here, listening ancestors near, Black Matter lives.
Absolutely love that. That may be my favorite song by a DMV hip hop artist this year. Absolutely love that. Love this album. Production by Let the Dirt Say Amen, Tim Hicks, Rashad Dobbins, the MCs. Engineered by Edgar Diaz, a friend in common.
Yes.
Edgar, shout out to Edgar Diaz. Artemis, we actually reviewed this album, episode 1.2. So I believe it was the first episode that we have that like we felt okay actually putting out to the world. We did a couple of pilots where we worked out the kinks. You can't tell because we're fucking up so bad right now, but you know, whatever.
Not me.
Speak for yourself.
Definitely me. It's
We're doing
definitely
good.
me.
We're
It's
fine,
definitely me. Artemis, give me a quick rundown with your thoughts on this.
Oh yeah. So originally, like, I had to circle back and listen to it because, you know, these are the homies, and I was working on my stuff, and I had to circle back, and I like this album. Still, just like, you know, their consistency to just bring up like the social topics of the day and how it affects us all, man. They just always are able to just like do that. And Tim is just a masterful producer, man. He's able to put together like some soundscapes that just compliment not only himself but Rashad as well. And he's throwing in like nice samples of speeches and the beats. I'm just feeling it, and it captured the feel of that march, like downtown in DC. It captured the feel. That whole album.
Mhm.
Even though it says by the time I get it's titled by the time I get to Minnesota, it made me think of when, you know, people were marching in the streets of DC. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to say quick shout out to Rashad Dobbins actually, because he just put out his solo, Messiah and Glitch, which is fire.
Mm.
If you check it
Yeah.
out, it's messiahandglitch.bandcamp.com. It's spelled weird, like glitch is like GLYTCH. Check it out. It's called Digital Cassettes Northwest. He has a video for one of the songs, Jay Dilla Runs, Cyberspace, which is fire. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to throw that out there while we're talking about this album. So I'm glad they're contending runner for like best hip hop album. Is it best hip hop album?
Best hip hop artist and best rap album.
There you go. Just trying to make sure I had it right. I'm glad they're a
Yep.
contender for both because, you know, hey, they've won it before, and there's a reason why they've been able to be in the run-ins again. And that's the family right there. That's
Because they're
extended
good.
fam. You
It's
know,
Because
so
it's because they're good. They're so good.
they're really that good.
Yeah,
Damn good.
they really are.
So yeah.
Yeah. Props to Cornell West Theory. Tia, you got quick thoughts on this before we move on to Artemis's album?
I mean, I feel like I said so much the first time. I just will say that, you know, listen, Cornell West Theory is like the Wammie favorites at this point. They've won awards for a few times. Tim won last year for best album, best hip hop album. Solo, Let the Dirt Say Amen, aka Tim Hicks. But I feel like, you know what, this album, there's more to come. I'm just like, I'm sure that this was continuing they've got a prolific run going, and I'm eager to see what they're going to do next. And like, you know, as much as they're doing together, they're doing just as much solo. So I'm just excited. They're Wammie babies. I feel like they're kind of like the committee loves them. You know, they've noticed them and given them proper attention. But yeah, I love them. There's not much else to say that you guys have not said already. So I'm just going to say, props to them and salute. I'm looking forward.
Yeah. I love conscious rap that says something meaningful. This album, start to finish, cover to cover, does. Cornell West Theory. By the time I get to Minnesota, chef's kiss.
Yes.
All right, Artemis, tell us about Matt McGee.
Oh, so it's on me. Okay. I don't know that much about Matt McGee, I will admit. I was definitely thrown back by his cover when I saw the album with the afro. I was like, what the hell? It's like, what's up with this? So what's up with this, like, staying
He looks
alive?
smooth as shit on that album cover,
I
man.
didn't know what was going on. I was like, this is the Parliament Funkadelic 2020? What's going on? But I checked out the album. Like I said, I don't know too much about Matt McGee. I'll be real with you, but I did listen to this album. Everything Starts From Now. Let me say this. I listened to the album and it was not what I expected, but that's not in a bad way. It's actually a very good album. It gave me very K-Tronada kind of Anderson .Paak feels to a degree, and then it kind of gave me a Drake feel. So listen to this album. I liked it. The only thing I have to honestly speak on this, and Matt McGee, if you listen to this, this is no diss at all about what you did on the album. I felt like some of the songs in the beginning, they almost felt like they could have been on a different project. But then there was a part where the second half of the album was like, oh my God. Like, it was just like, this is complete. Like, I can't even name all the songs off the top, but the female rapper joint, like that song was like one of my favorites. But
That's a great song.
Oh, that's so dope. He has a song called Drifting, I want to say. Drifting was really dope too. But yeah, man, the whole project overall was just really dope, man. And I really dug it. And I feel like with him, he could compete with somebody like a Gold Link that's around here. You know, just the way he goes about his approach in music. And if he gets far enough, I hope he's able to work with like K-Tronada. I'll be real with you, because he's already in that pocket. So yeah, that was the only thing. This album definitely caught me off guard. Very clean, very clear. And my personal favorite on here, aside from the female rapper joint and the drifting joint, I have to say is Muscle Memory. So let's listen to that real quick. Muscle Memory.
Second nature. Yeah, second nature. My time is ticking and my watch is golden. Mine is closing, I've not been open. All these parties I've not been going. All these problems they have not been spoken. Stop them open, you are not the folding type. Want the sober, fuck it, I could go tonight. If I died, I haven't lived a holy life. Hell for sure, the only place I'm going right. Talk to God and he ain't let me know if I should let it go, if I should keep going. I've been over, under, fixed, and broken twice. I guess the only thing we know is fight. I guess the only thing we know is pain. If that's the only thing we know is strange, I'm guessing maybe we should know his name. Loving you is like second nature. 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 Loving you is second nature. Loving you is second nature. Loving you is second nature. I need you like I need food. I need you like I need water. I need you like when they told me that I would need school. I need you like a son needed his father. I need you when times are getting bad. I need you when no one else around. I need you when I'm in the crowd. I need you like we need love. I need you like I need now. I'm losing grip. I need help. I'm falling over. I need balance. I need you like I need help. I need you like I need silence. I need you like I need focus. I really need you to notice.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing. You know, aside from my little like thing about, you know, there's certain songs I didn't feel like it could have been on something else because they were dope. I'm gonna say this, yo. If you're listening to Matt McGee, you know what you're doing. You keep doing it, man.
That's right. That's right. I love this album. And I'm gonna beat the sample oracle. That's Ronnie Foster, Mystic Brew.
Yes.
Whew.
Good job.
Electric Relaxation.
That's the joint.
Many others. I love that joint. Go ahead, Tia.
This album, same. I feel like Artemis, I know exactly what you're referring to. It did feel like I almost wondered if maybe Matt McGee had a thought of splitting two albums, or splitting this across two albums, because I know that there was another album that was nominated, right? I forget the name of that album, but either way, I feel like maybe there was supposed to be a split, like maybe sort of similar to how you did yours, that it all didn't feel cohesive, but I still really liked it. And like you said, I would love to hear like Matt McGee and Kaytranada. Like it does have that kind of vibes to it. An elegant MC. I mean, I feel like DC, Ian, you said it, where this region is really in a renaissance right now, and the art has just, I mean, there's a spotlight on the area for sure, and that's grown. I think before it was kind of coming from like a Wale, but now you've got like YB and whatever, however you put those three letters.
YB and Corday.
Yes, you've got him out there, you know, sort of doing great things. So I'm happy. I'm looking forward to seeing Matt McGee more. Like I hope that he excels.
Exactly, definitely. What'd you think, Ian? What?
Super musical album. I really love the musical choices that he made. Very mature and artistic. I mean, I love his easygoing flow. Just a great album. Great album. Very deserving. Possibly could have been nominated for more. He's nominated for hip hop album. But yeah, just a really solid effort. Well deserving. I don't know much about him. Do you guys know? Is he kind of like a newcomer to the scene, or is he?
I don't want to say here. I don't want to say he's a newcomer. I almost did, but I was like, nah, let me not say that, because if you look back to his discography, he's been putting out stuff for a while. Like at this point, he's been like looking at his discography now on Spotify. At the very least, he's been putting out stuff since 2015.
Yeah.
So he had to have been doing stuff like, I don't know, maybe 2010, maybe. I mean, it's possible.
Yeah.
So this is good. I mean, this is an artist who's paid his dues and is finally getting some recognition. So this is good. Matt McGee, if you're listening, man, we love the album, and keep doing your thing, man. Keep doing your thing.
Yes.
All right, let's move along to, I believe, the last album that we're going to discuss tonight. Tia.
Yes. Enoch Seventh Prophets, A Minute of Your Time. Now, I get excited about this album because for most people don't know, Enoch, Seventh Prophet, was very instrumental in my own sort of hip hop beginnings. So, we talked about, right, like Artemis being connective tissue. Enoch Seventh Prophet is also a lot of connective tissue in this scene, and one of the architects in the DC hip hop scene. From here in the region, and has definitely, Enoch's mother was in a very popular gospel group, just that recorded here. I forget what it was. It's like it's one of those big like Richard Wright singers or whatever. It's one of those huge gospel groups of the like 70s and 80s. But either way, it's just like he has naturally kind of always had, I feel like, kind of like a Chuck D vibe. And for whatever reason, right, has done a lot of different music, is another prolific MC who's released, this is like his 11th or 12th studio album of his career, but has been, on everybody else's project and is featured across the region from so many people, and now has, kind of been instrumental in raising a lot of babies, a lot of kids in this area. Enoch used to host a long-running sort of institution here called True School, which Ardamus and myself came up in, an open mic that we grew up in. And so, again, has always been formulating relationships. That has been the key of what he's done. But I'm just really excited because this album, 1 minute of your time, is really literally as it is described. It's a minute of your time. Each song, the intention is that to be as close to about a minute as you can possibly be. It is around a couple years ago, Enoch started his own label, Chakra Music. And so this is out on the Chakra Music imprint. This album was also recorded, mixed and mastered by Night Sky Studios. So Ron Vento also, I mean, just right, was on, I don't know how many Wammie nominated albums. So listen, Wammie's committee, I'm just telling you, Ron Vento, Night Sky Studios, next year, we're going to get that together. The production on this album is all done by King C, who was from the group The Beggars, which was also a group from Washington, D.C. It no longer exists now. They kind of disbanded after the death of their leader, Father Lord, aka Wu Chai. But they were kind of like the D.C. version of Wu-Tang. That was kind of they were signed, I believe, under the Wu-Tang imprint. But it was like Bolo was King C's name, who's producer and DJ for Enoch. So when we get into Bolo's rap, I'll explain a little bit about the song from some information I have about the DC Sniper and the connection to this song a little bit.
This the underground Gaddafi rap. 14 karat gold, who sold soul, take control of the government rap. Crack Reagan era, Mary and Barry, that bitch set me up. Watch Tony and rap, fisherman hat, cock to the side, white V-neck tee on. Coach a young image, you sleeping on rap. Johnny Gill, Stacy Lattisaw, signing autograph in the trap in front of the church rap. Yeah, I had to put that out there. I was there, you were nowhere rap. That's all facts. Huh. Call me the Mike Jack, the thriller rap. Moonwalk backwards, see if you can capture that. Most can't match the drip that I deliver when I step on stage black. Yeah, we talk shit cause it's easy. Do it in our sleep, eyes wide open. Ray Charles Prodigy rap. Tap dancing on your last nerve like your baby father do rap. And if you go to court, you better pay up rap. And if you don't, the judge can order to put you in the cell black. Mary and Barry, this bitch set me up. Watch Tony and rap. Mary and Barry, that bitch set me up.
Man, I miss my brother Enoch.
Yeah. I always love seeing that guy out and about, and that's such great music. I love that beat. I really love that beat, that harmony.
Yeah, yo, Enoch, if you are listening, brother, we miss you. You know what I'm saying? Like you know, we know you moving and shaking, man. But you know, we're glad that you're still making music. And this minute of my time, the concept of it, bro. I hope you jumped on TikTok and made as many videos as you could, and like try to like capitalize on that because that is such a dope idea. I hope you did that. Please tell me you did that, Enoch. If you did, let me know. I'll try to find you on TikTok and try to help you out.
There it is. There it is.
Yes. I mean, it's a lot to say, but I just, the one thing I'll bring around is that Enoch has a follow-up to this album called One Moment Please, that follows the same format, right? These sort of incremental type of songs where like, you know what, I can say less and I'm gonna say less. And again, great music, great production. King C, I mean, there's very few people I feel like production wise that can do what he can do, but doesn't get a lot of props. I don't know if maybe it's just people are, I don't know what it is. But one of the things I wanted to connect to this album is that the DC Sniper, for people, I mean, I probably don't have to go into a lot of detail. That was a very sort of, I guess, publicized, highly publicized mass of coordinated shootings that were happening in the DC region during October of 2002 across DC, Maryland, and Virginia, when we say the DMV. But the two snipers that were convicted, John Allen Muhammad and Lee Boyd Malvo, when they were found, sort of there was they were in a 1990 Chevrolet Caprice sedan, and one of the things that happened, the police actually examined some of the artifacts that they were found with. And so one of them, most people know, was the tarot card, that the death tarot card that had the Call Me God inscribed at the top. The other was like, they had some fruit snacks, Dole like craisins or something, and some maps, some bullets. But the other thing they had was a Bega CD in the trunk. And you just think about like, what, I don't know what that means. I don't know what the correlation of all of that was, but the fact is that, that is to me like a direct sort of sentence on on DC, right? Like this group, this pioneering hip hop group that maybe nobody had even heard of or known outside of DC, now sort of like that was instrumental, I don't know, for people to kind of get a sense of like the beggars. So I just thought it was interesting. Enoch does a video later on for another one of these songs, Section 8, where he has like tarot card reader and highlight some of that. And like this album is great, it has Maia on it, who's one of my, I mean, we talked about singers, hands down my favorites. And I'm saying above everybody I know, and I know some great singers. She is my favorite singer in the DMV. Amazing, brilliant artist, can also like spit, like can also like rap, like just incredible artist. I found a gem when I listened to it was my favorite song, it's called Say. But Bolo's rap is like always, I mean, just is classic. Everything that Enoch is saying, the fisherman hat, like it's him in the video with that. He's got the like Lion of Judah flag on his coat, on his jacket. He's Rasta, it's just like, I don't know, it's just Enoch. And I just, this whole album was dope for me. And I hope that people will acknowledge Enoch's been laying bricks in this city for a long time and deserves certainly recognition. So I'm glad to see that he also was receiving flowers by being nominated.
Agreed.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, just an amazing album. I love it. A minute of your time. That beat right there, I love that. You can tell it's kind of reverse engineered. I don't know the songwriting process, but my guess would be that they came up with that bass line first and then played the chords over it. But when the song starts, it's just the chords without the bass line. And then when the bass line comes in, it's like, oh wow, I didn't think that was going to be what it was. And so but then when you hear it all together, it just sounds great. That's top-notch producing when you kind of do one of these, like the first time you hear it, That's
Exactly.
good. That's good. That's really good production. And you know, and I think as a vocalist, as an MC, I feel like Enoch is very evocative. You were mentioning
Yes.
it, Tia, a lot of imagery in his verses that I think is very effective. I think a lot of people try to be evocative of imagery and you know, may not always get there. He really nails it. He really nails it. I think you know, imagery, the mind's eye, and then also storytelling, I think, are just such crucial elements
Yes.
of lyricists. And you know, I feel like he does both of those really, really well, really well. Just a super underrated MC in this town, and another guy who deserves roses and deserves.
And you know what? I've heard people say, and I'm going to put this on record. I'm putting this on our podcast
Yeah,
as being an
record
official
it.
stamp. We're recording it right now, right? I've heard people say that they are the best performer or whatever in DC. Like, to me, like, this is where I'm glad people like Artemis and Enoch are being featured, because they, like, there is performance as an
Yeah.
MC, and then there is their level of performance. Like, both incredible performers. So when we say, like, being an artist and being able to rap in that studio is easy. You know, it's the you can pretty much kind of function with that. But when you get on that stage, the lies show, right? The cracks in the armor show up a lot faster. And so seasoned professionals, seasoned performers who give you a real show. And a lot of people have stolen Enoch's show elements, right? He has a whole thing where it's stop, you know, goes a cappella, like, and does that. Everybody knows that. He gets the crowd, you know, sort of this whole entire chanting thing going. It's very chant down Babylon, kind of a, you know, he brings in element of like the rap Bob Marley, like he executes that a lot.
Wow.
So yeah, people listen, official stamp, Artemis and Enoch. Again, I'm glad getting flowers, just because performing is something we don't talk about as we're talking about albums. But yes.
That's true. He has a
Mhm.
song. So he has a song. What was it called? Soul Power. That he used to
Mhm.
do. He had like kind of a James Brown feel, and he had such great imagery of it. You know, he even shouted out Tone, uh, Tony in his song. It's like him dancing on the floor, getting shirt sweaty or something weird. I can't remember what it was, but the lyric made me laugh. Every time I heard that song, that made me laugh. And like as deep as Enoch is with his songs, like he'll have a song like that, and it always caught me off guard when he did it. I was like, okay, Enoch. It's just like had like high energy. So I agree with what Tia's saying. Like showmanship is a big part of it, and
Yeah.
he's always had a very live show.
Yeah.
Very, very.
And
very
you
live.
too,
Great
like,
performance.
Thank you. I
yeah,
appreciate it.
it's nice to say. And like, you know, Forex P, I felt like when you were with them, right, like the whole entire thing. But I feel like all of that gets missed when you discuss like whammies and like being artists, right? It's like the showmanship. Cornell Westbury, also incredible, powerful, dynamic performers. So that's something that doesn't always translate into like the studio magic.
Yeah. And as I many a time I've stood behind Artemis on stage and watched him do his thing from that angle, where you can kind of see how the crowd interacts with him. You know, and then there've been the rare occasions where there actually hasn't been anybody in the crowd, and you know, those have happened too.
Oh,
But you know what? He still brings the energy. You still bring the energy, brother.
do what I can, man. Thank you.
The longest song on A Minute of Your Time, 1 minute 34 seconds. So it's like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
A great album to listen to. A really great listen. It's like, what does it take you, like 15 minutes to get through it? I mean, 9 tracks. The longest is 1 minute 34. But like, you can do so much saying less sometimes. You know, it's the old Miles Davis. Make him hear the notes that you don't play. You know.
Exactly.
So yeah, A Minute of Your Time, Enoch Seventh Prophet, really excellent. I want to give congratulations to all of the nominees. Again, you know, we do this show because we want to bring light to new stuff that's out there. We dip into the classics and we talk about that. We get into our feelings and we kind of like, you know, you get a sense of our foundations in hip hop, but we really try to bring new stuff to light. So this was a perfect opportunity to look at the Wammie nominated songs and albums and artists. And again, we couldn't get to all of the albums that were, featured here, but hopefully we got a little cross section of some of the nominated albums, some of the stuff that we really like, some standout stuff. And of course, Artemis, my man, amazing output once again. You really killed it, and I love all the music that I heard. I really did. I hope you win. I hope you win something. I hope you win a lot, and
Yes.
it's not a diss on anybody else. I've known you for a long time now, and I respect your hustle. I respect your artistry. So I wish you all the best, and I hope you win it. And if you don't win it, somebody very, very deserving, I'm sure, will.
You go.
And can I say a final note on the fact that there was not a lot of women nominated across any of the hip hop categories. So I just want to shout out again to Dior Ashley Brown,
Yes.
who is, sort of doing good on the artvocacy side.
Yes.
Yeah, so salute to Dior Ashley Brown, who's just an incredible performer. Again, right, we talk about that.
Dope MC.
Dope MC, singer, can do it all. So has this wonderful DC Music Summit that spotlights education and activism and community education. So yeah, you just give it up for her.
One of the things I love about the DC DMV music scene, so many just like really beautiful light souls, and Dior Ashley Brown is one of them.
Yes.
And there's a bunch here in this list that are nominated, not just in hip hop and rap, some really, really wonderful artists that we know, people like Emma G and Fellow Craft and those guys. Yeah. Just great music. The Wammies celebrates DC DMV music, and so we celebrate the Wammies. All right, guys, I think we're wrapping it up here. So to our audience, this was Grande Loq, the Grandiloquent Hip Hop Show. Tia, Artemis, again, as always, thank you. We have wonderful discussions. I love your insights. So if you enjoyed this show, we would be honored if you would rate, review, subscribe. What do you got there? Some jewelry?
I've got my P because it's Sean P's birthday again, and I'm Prowess, so it's P. I'm P, R.I.P.
There it is. How much ice is on that now? It's a deep cut. That's a deep cut for our old school Grande Loq fans. So, we're on YouTube. We're on Facebook right now. Spotify, TuneIn, Alexa, iHeartRadio. You can search Grande Loq with a Q. Production courtesy of Marcus Donovan, the Pasteurized Chef. His show, the District of Misfits show, every Sunday night at 10. They go live. So you can hear all of the curse words. You can watch them drink copious amounts of moderately priced alcohol. Let's just say it gets super loose. It's a fun show. Anyway, this is a District Dogface Studios production. Big shout out to Pat Ewing, Georgetown Big Man Energy. Tia, I know you're loving.
Oya Saxa is all I'm going to say. It's
There
our
it is.
time. We about to get it again.
There it is. I try to trend hashtag Hoya Sexy, but it's not really catching on. So anyway, thank you to our audience for letting us into your brain. Peace.
Peace.
To me, if you wanna make it money off the drama while I'm laid up in the sauna, hold up. Hey, cancel me if you wanna make it money off the drama while I'm laid up with your mama.